So right out of college, I started a web development firm using outsourced labor. I made 80 grand my first year, and I was miserable and I shut it down. Here's the story. So hi everyone, I'm Haley Renee. Welcome to my channel. This is part 2 of the Get to Know Me series. So for the whole first year after I graduated from Rice, I worked for Rice Web Services, which is the basically web firm within Rice University. It was great. I spent that year building websites and web apps for departments, professors, etc. And I learned a lot about web development. After the year, I was kind of bored there, so I decided to quit my job and start my own web firm. Originally, I wasn't actually planning on starting a web firm. I was planning on starting a marketing firm. What happened was I ended up going to a marketing conference, and the people that put the conference on were selling web development, but they were selling it for a really high price. And as a web developer, I knew how much they were selling it for and how ridiculous the price was. I mean, they were totally price gouging people there. So I complained about that to the people that I met, and I was like, dude, I'm a web developer, and that price is ridiculous, totally ridiculous. Even to this day, I have never been paid that much, and I've worked for Google. So I was like, all right, my normal rate's $125 an hour. I'll do the stuff for you. Trust me, you're gonna pay less. So the people that I had met at that conference were like, sure, here, have all our work. You charge less than these people, do it. And so I did it. So I had a whole bunch of work come from that particular conference. And in fact, it was so much work that I couldn't do it all myself. So I started outsourcing some of the work. I hired a developer in Russia. I had a developer in Macedonia, and I had a graphic designer, I think it was in Lithuania. So outsourced to Europe, Asia, etc. And I ended up bringing in over $80,000 that first year of doing this. So because I was outsourcing and not actually the one doing the web development, my job was manager and marketer. So I was selling our services to other marketers, and I was managing this team of outsourced people. I missed the work. Managing the team wasn't that bad. Selling the services to the marketers was annoying. It really wasn't what I wanted to be doing with my time, and it was making me fairly miserable. So in the end, I made the decision to shut the entire thing down. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I decided just to say I'm not taking any more clients, and I wrapped up the work that we were currently working on, and I said, that's it. I'm closing this down. So the things that I learned from this experience, and the things that I hope that you can take away from the story, is that you get to say how you define success. Making a bunch of money, while very useful, wasn't my success. My success was making a bunch of money while not being miserable and while still having fun. And since I didn't have the latter part of that, the money wasn't worth it to me. Now granted, maybe if I had been making $1 million, I would have said a different story, but I was making a decent income, and I just wasn't happy. So lesson number 2 that I took from this is go where your customers are. You hear this one around, but as a web developer, going to a marketing conference where people who do not have web development skills are trying to learn how to market is prime client getting if you're a web developer. I didn't really have to market that heavily because I went where the customers were. And lesson number 3, which is my last lesson, is that it's okay to let things go. I had to shut the firm down in order to move on to bigger and better things. And I've had lots of really cool jobs and experiences since then. I can't imagine still being in that position now, 10 years later. So by letting it go, I was able to get more cool things coming into my life. And yes, it was a hard decision, but I'm really glad that I made it. So there you go. That's the story of why I shut down the web firm that I built that was making me a decent income. So stay tuned for part 3 of this series. In part 3, I'm going to talk about money and how I manage my money, because I pretty much automate most everything dealing with money. So if you want to learn a really cool trick to how to maximize your reward points, Stay tuned for the next video. Also, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you know when it comes out.